Thank you. Let's bow our heads in prayer. We thank you, Lord, for bringing us all together in this gathering. We thank you also for keeping us alive during these times of COVID. We ask, the Lord, that all the deliberations that shall take place will be fruitful, and you will bless them, Lord. And give us the wisdom to make us think and say words that will end up giving us positive results in all that we do. And we hope that from today onwards, the artists in Kenya will not be looked at as people who are lost and have no value at all in society, but this will be a beginning of greater things to come. We thank you, Lord, and we ask that you hear our prayer. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. First of all, apologies for the late start. Thank you, Howie, for starting with that. I would like to welcome the CEO, Mr. Pundo. Thank you for joining us, and the team that took their time to organize this event. Before we start with introductions, Danny would like to come and say a few things about TAPS, which was the organizing team behind this whole meeting.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, karibuni sana. This is a meeting for the creatives, and our umbrella body, or as we call it, is called TASK, the Art Society of Kenya. We are an umbrella body for all performing arts associations and individuals. Our main aim is to make sure that we create an industry that will help both in terms of you as an artist grow and nurture your talent, and also be able to assist in terms of welfare. I believe each one of us is in a WhatsApp group, and every other time kuna karambe kanafanywa, sindo? Yeah, we need somebody has lost someone or somebody is unwell. So we are looking in a way we can be able to diversify that and create a welfare for every artist, so that instead of us kukaa tukichanga, tukuwe na a way whereby both for health and also for the final respect, there's a way that you can be catered for. And lastly, we are an advocacy group whereby we are trying to make sure that we change the policies, we change the laws to make sure that art in this country, or the creative sector, is able to pay your bills. Because anybody that has been in this sector for a while, you realize that people are only glamorous for TV, for radio. At the moment things go south, that's when you realize that there isn't much they have that can be able to cater even for their families when they are gone. So we need to make sure that creativity pays, creativity protects, and creativity is also protected. So you as a performing artist, as a creative, there is a welfare, and there are policies that protect your work and protect you. So feel welcome, feel free to question, to participate, and I believe at the end of the day, you live here with either some good hope and some good answers. Asanteni sana, karibuni, and pay attention, question anything that you feel doesn't go your way. Anybody that stands here to speak, you have a right to ask questions. Asanteni, this is a free and safe space, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. All right. And now, put your hands together for the man of the moment, our new director, Mr. Pundo. Short introduction, karibu, tukuone, tukusalimie, tujue ni nani na ulifika huko lini. Because sisi tunaishi huko, sindio? Yeah. So thank you. Please, a round of applause for the director as he comes to introduce himself.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm not new as such. My name is Michael Pundo, the CEO of Kenya Cultural Center. I came into this space sometime in December 2019 on the Christmas Eve. But basically I started work in January 2020. and 3 months into my new assignment, we closed down. And so we have been battling with closures and restrictions up to this moment. So you are all welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I am glad we are moving quickly. First of all, I need to say as well, thank you for your time. Secondly, housekeeping washrooms are across on the other side of the compound. And if you'd like a program, I'm sure most of you will find it in your WhatsApp groups. Yes. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have a discourse on a couple of things, starting with positive engagements with the Kenya Cultural Center. Then we will discuss rehearsal space and hall hire charges, KCC funding for productions and allocations. This includes past beneficiaries, amounts, and the selection criteria they've been using. We'll also discuss KCC funding workshops and the KCC strategic plan on how the stakeholders can contribute. Then finally, we'll talk about the Kenya Cultural Center Act review plans. We'll start with positive engagements with the Cultural Center. It's a discourse, a very fair for all, fair and free for all, so long as you're an artist conversation. So let's move it along and be as honest and as concise as we can. I don't know who will be your first speaker for the day. Abuto. It's Mr. Fundo. Perhaps we have him on the desk then. Feels like these questions are for you, sir. So please have a seat. Mr. Kahuru, karibu. Thank you. All right, first conversation. We'd like to know about the positive engagements the KCC has had with its artists. Was that too vague, sir?
I'm a bit off balance kidogo because how do I understand it? This actually was the agenda of task. So we don't know what we're doing here unless task tells us, because actually it was supposed to be their meeting. Then now we see on then how are the engagements done. But we can't start by saying these are the engagements we have. And as I think this information was relayed, that the meeting is for task. And so we want to hear from task as KCC and see then what is it that we need to engage in, and then what is the way forward for all those issues. I think that is how it should be.
All right, then task, handle it.
Before Danny speaks, I'd like to say that stakeholder meeting are the mandate of the Kenya Cultural Center. Kenya Cultural Center is supposed to host stakeholder engagements with the stakeholders. So as task, we felt that we should facilitate this meeting so that we are on the same page together, because we want to work together with the Kenya Cultural Center team. This has not happened in a very long time. It's something that used to happen, but for a long time it has not happened. So we're hoping that this would be an opportunity for us to discuss. Maybe what I can say is that this could be a plenary, the first issue that we are discussing, so that it's not really targeting the Kenya Cultural Center director, but as a plenary, we want to work together with the Kenya Cultural Center. So how are you going to do this? So Danny, maybe you can do that.
Asanteni sana, and thank you once again. Before I start with the director, I want to start this side. As an artist, I will sample a few of you, and I will want to know, what do you know about KCC? So that at least we bridge that gap. Because we might ask all the questions, but first of all, do artists understand what KCC is all about? So allow me, if I ambush you and you don't have an answer, it's okay. You can skip to someone else. I will start with my brother over here. Yes. Ukisikia KCC, Kenya Cultural Center, what comes into your mind?
1, 2. Okay. Nikisikia Kenya Cultural Center, what comes into mind? Let me say initially, I will explain why. Initially it's a space that can be hired for artists to use for their artistic projects. But now, since sometime last year, there has been something that I've been working with, and the Kenya Cultural Center has been very supportive with it. And now in that line, I saw another part of it that you can actually approach it not just as a space for hire for different artistic projects, not only artistic projects, because even initially I was a bit unnerved by that. It's just a space for hire, because was it, I think, 2017, 2018, most events that were here were not artistic projects. Most of them were corporate events. But now that is I feel as if I can say that is the fault of the artists, because most people do not want to take risks to put up shows. But now since around 2020, I've been seeing Kenya Cultural Center as a place where artists can come, share their ideas with them, and know how this institution can support them. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I am Vitalis Waweru. I like to call myself an artist because I'm a singer, I'm an actor, I'm a voiceover artist. So I'm an artist, and I am a freelancer belonging to no company whatsoever. Yes.
Thank you very much. Maybe I sample someone else. My brother over here. Let me ask. Prior to today, what idea did you have about Kenya Cultural Center?
Actually, I come from visual art, and visual art has not been so much participating in the event. This is the area that has been actually catering for art. So we are now just coming in as new visitors to see if we can be in a space as visual art in this.
Wow.
So we are here to listen, then we come up with what we hear in our sector of visual art.
Thank you. That is.
To add something a little, the space that we are in is called Cheche Gallery. This many years ago, there used to be a lot of galleries. What is it called?
Exhibitions
happening here, and this was a very beautiful place. In fact, your art. This gentleman is not telling us a lot. He has done a lot of things, and one of the things that he has done is going to live forever in this country. Maybe you can tell us about what you just did recently.
And your name, please?
My name is Naftar Momanyi. I'm a visual artist. I'm a sculptor. And as Babutu's request, I'm currently working on a monumental sculpture. Yeah.
Which association do you come from?
Yeah, Kenya National Visual Arts Association.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Karibu sana. So, Bwana Director, you will explain to us if you have anything for visual artists. Yes, my brother. Your name, please, and the genre that you represent. Yeah.
So my goal is to do hands there, stars
Karibu sana. Karibu sana, karibu. Yes, at the back. Kindly tell us your name, please, and your genre, and what you understand about KCC.
Asante sana. My name is Ondiege Matthew. I am going to talk because I have a production coming up here, so I'm basically advertising my show. It's called How to Buy a House in Tengela. I wish this microphone was up. Cut me off. Is it there? Okay, yeah, because I feel like I'm straight. Oh, that's great. So I think, yeah, thank you for that question about what I think about KCC. I have thought about KCC, Kenya Cultural Center, incorporated in the Kenya National Theatre for the last 35 years, and 30 practically. And I think that one or two things that are missing for me is the time consciousness, which used to unite us together. Mr. Pundo, please return the clock face at the National Theatre wall, just at the foyer. Please return it for us. It's something that is spiritual also, and it enables us to feel like I'm actually part of this community, because it's about time. And my suggestion would be, if, for example, I have a show here, how do I make it run for a long time? I have ideas of keeping this play running for another 72 nights until December. And how can that happen? How do we work together with the Cultural Center to make this possible? I come from a tradition of plays that used to run for a long time. I'm a dancer, a choreographer, and an actor. What we do is at least 8 nights overrun, and even 10 nights. But nowadays, because of costs and many things, I don't know how we can talk to the Cultural Center to see how this is possible, that we return that tradition of doing plays for as long as possible. And some of us are working in genres that are not that popular, so we don't have very good audiences like the ones who do stand-up comedy or maybe slapstick. So how can we build audiences at the Cultural Center for us who are working in other genres like Conte? And then, if I am a producer and I'm working at the Cultural Center, what does it give me? Do you have an audience? Because I bring the money, I pay, but what mileage do the Cultural Center give me? Is there mabango fulani kwa mfano kule airport inasema kwamba ukifika Nairobi fika Cultural Center, vile tunazipata zile za kufika museum au fika Bomas of Kenya au fika wapi, hizo hakuna za hapa. So we are struggling as producers to get audiences, and we're still hiring spaces. So we need to get that kind of balance in terms of value of what we put in. And so I wish that there was a strategy that the Cultural Center has to publicize and to market the productions that are done here, irrespective of the, whether they are private companies doing it or independent artists. And then the last but not least is that we have a very beautiful space here. Nowadays it has been fenced for the last 20-something years, which means the artist's work has been contained, around the walls. And that means other things like parking are so expensive for the artists who have to park here and rehearse here every day for a month. How do we come to an agreement that if we are fenced, therefore we are recognized as resident artists, so what benefits do we have, including having atakamani those deals za kupata credit kwa restaurant, ama ni kulipa parking at a concessional rate, ama ni kulipa theater at a lower rate. We rehearse at the dance studio. It's 2,000 shillings an hour. I rehearse for 8 hours a day for 36 days. Will I ever afford it? These are kind of things we're saying. If we are artists working here, how can we be recognized and be seen as part and parcel of the community that benefits, and therefore we given residential advantages? I'll see you. Asanteni.
Thank you very much. Come please, I love how the discourse is going. Yes, please.
Again, Nice Kithinji, performing artist. I have 3 pointers to say. When I think about the Kenya Cultural Center, I expect a space that is free and fair for all artists. However, I stand to be corrected, but I have been bothered by seeing either political and religious events within the space, and people are coming to hire the space for political and or religious events. And I find that misplaced, especially within the cultural center. Secondly, is to add on what Mr. Ondege said, which is sustainability of longer runs. This is a possibility of us maybe having a theater company that constantly has shows running within the space when there are no private individuals who are coming to hire. That way, that also helps us to retain our audience, because people know that every weekend, come watch me, there's going to be a performance, which also, in retrospect, is going to be a constant revenue stream for said artists. That's it.
Thank you very much. Now, I hope anybody with something they would want to share, yes, over there, so that I don't lock you out. Please, your name, your genre, and also...
Max Seconde. All right, thank you. I don't want to go too deep. I just want to answer your question. When I hear Kenya Cultural Center, I actually want to...
Start with your name, please.
Oh, sorry. My name is Joshua Okayo. I'm a performing artist. And I'm so keen on policy making. That's why I'm here. So this place is not known out there as Kenya Cultural Center. Sisi ni wasanii and we know it as Kenya Cultural Center. Out there you go, people tell you, are you going to Kenya National Theatre?
KNT.
So like an individual out there knows this is KNT, Kenya National Theatre, and what happens here? We go to the theatre to perform, and that's it. I think if there was something to, if we can do something, I think that is one of the main agenda of this engagement, so that it is known as Kenya Cultural Center, where all the cultural activities can be preserved and actually promoted, so that someone does not come to Kenya National Theatre to perform only, but you know, there are some other things. Someone can, like we have a visual artist, we have someone who has a show, has a film they want to, you know, to premiere, someone who has something. I mean, everything else, everything that is within culture, yeah, everything else, so that we have an inclusive sort of center. I think that is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who is next? So that I don't lock you out. You have something? Yes, please. Over here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I'm so proud to talk as a very ordinary artist now here. I'm Nicholas Olemoipei, and I used to be the chairman to this institution. And since I'm an artist myself, I'm just like a pyrethrum farmer. When you farm as a pyrethrum farmer, and you become a CEO to the entity where you are heading other pyrethrum farmers, even when you retire, you continue being a pyrethrum farmer, and therefore you continue being a stakeholder within the pyrethrum industry. And that's what I am as an artist. I'm a father to daughters who are artists. They have even come and used this facility here, and even as chairman, Bwana Pundo here charged me very heavily for the hall, and I remember I paid. That's why we have to pay. Sometimes he has to survive. He has to get money to run the institution. Actually, the institution has been functioning for the artists. It's never been for only state corporation, or rather, what you call other institutions coming to do things here, but artists actually have flourished here. We used to have great artists like the ones who used to be, some of you may have been in the cast of Akina Stuart Nash. Were you, some of you, in those casts? Yeah, and you did The Grease, you did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor, at Dreamcoat, you did what? I mean, those were artists. They were not from the corporate world. It's actually these people here. The Kenya Cultural Center, if I was to be asked, now I'm not the chair,
so I can be able to talk like everybody else, is the KPA for artists. This is the place where we can sell our products to the rest of the world. It's not just a place to come and perform and enjoy ourselves and start our actions for the first time as artists. Otherwise, it can be really a place that can be very defeating as far as its purpose is concerned. We are supposed to come here with the best of quality products so that we are able to assist the management here to be able to sell the place with the highest quality productions. I have, throughout my time as the chairman here, I kept on telling artists, this is the KPA for artists, the Kenya Ports Authority. Lucky enough, earlier on when we talked about KPA, everybody thought of it being in Mombasa, because that's where you go and big ships come and you sell large things and then they are exported out of the country. But when Uhuru came in and they brought the, what do you call, the inland port, then it starts making sense, isn't it? So this is the space. Let's try and make Kenya Cultural Center as artists, as stakeholders, to be like other stages around the world. Let's copy what's happening at the Lincoln Center in New York. Somebody just talked, who was that who talked that just came from New York, okay, or rather from the US, so that whatever kind of products we have here are able to be sold outside to the rest of the world. And it has to be quality. This is where we are supposed to come and learn from each other. That's why it's a podium for us to come and discuss. To discuss. Look at my work. I look at your work and I see what is your standard, what has made you to succeed, so that I also succeed. And we only borrow from the best, because what sometimes happens is that we borrow only from sometimes the village. I mean, what is the best in my village in Narok city, Narok County, is what I bring to the National Theatre here. It can't work. A National Theatre is supposed to be a place where you bring top-notch activities and events to be able to sell to the rest of the world. I can attest to that as one of the people that has benefited from here. Lucky enough, it's not before I became chair, so don't say that it's because I became chair. My own children grew up here, okay? The Moipei Quartet, okay? They grew up here. They were going through classes here. That's why we have a school where we can learn the best of activities, we're learning of the best ways to perform musically and so on. This room here has been, we have had international presentations of visual arts. Like somebody has talked here, what are we doing here? This place here, this space we are seated in here, we have had international presentation of visual arts and so on and so forth. So as just to answer your question, what do you know about Kenya Cultural Center? Possibly other questions can come later. It is the space where we can come and learn to sell to the world nothing but the best. Not just to perform, to enjoy, to entertain ourselves. Can we start making this gold mine that we are sitting on to start making money for us? Is that okay? Yeah, that's what I can pray that we do as artists.
Thank you very much. Before I turn the questions now to the management, I would want to ask if there's anyone else with an opinion or a question or something they want to share. Good. Maybe now we can get the microphone to the table. And allow me to ask a few questions to the director. Question number one, what does Kenya Cultural Center have in store for publicity when somebody books a space to showcase their work in this place? That is number one. Number two, will there be special discounts for parking, hire of halls, and the premises for artists, mostly resident artists. And number 3, what kind of support do artists expect from KCC? And by support, I mean when they are showcasing their work. The rest we will ask later. So over to you, Bwana Director.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody else who has had something to say about how they understand Kenya Cultural Center. I want to take you down memory lane. Some of you know this better than me because you have been in this space longer. Kenya Cultural Center was opened to the public around 1952 as a cultural space for enjoyment for all Kenyans, though it wasn't for all Kenyans then. And so just from that, several things have happened around this space, ups and downs, that have in a way affected that initial enjoyment which was envisaged during the formation of the center. But then we also need to know that this is the oldest government cultural space in the country, older than even the Department of Culture itself. And so it is a space that should be identified with the artists. A space that when artists come, they should feel they are home. Then later, in the later years, around 2012, 2014, 2015, the management of the space changed, and it became a state corporation, a parastatal to be precise. And that then means it had to go through transformations of governance. And I think Mzee knows this better than me, Mr. Mwipei, because it was during his tenure that this space was now formally brought to be a state corporation. And that means then also that then the rules that govern the space were supposed then to conform to what government expects a government institution of a state corporation level to be like. But that said, still it does not rob the artists of the initial intention of the space. But then I would just want again to jog our minds on what the space is for. The mandate of the Kenya Cultural Center, if you read the Act, you will see that the Kenya Cultural Center is to provide for performance of music, dance, and drama, and provide for exhibition of art, work of arts, and for discussion of literary issues or any other issue that would be affecting the society, or any other thing that the governing council would deem fit. And so I know the engagement is long, but just as per that mandate, it means then that the management's responsibility is to provide for the artists who have something to showcase, a space to showcase what they need to showcase. But that provision comes with a cost. Previously, those costs were haphazard. The manager then would determine what to charge Abuto or what to charge Roy when they come. But still, the artist was required to access the space after a charge. And so it therefore means that there are also those artists who have something to showcase but might not afford what has been put as the charge. And that is now where engagements come. And I want to talk about the little time I've been here. And we have to agree, I came here when it was the hardest time for the Kenyan artist. I think it was the lowest time ever for the Kenyan artist. But then, I was charged with the responsibility of managing an artistic space as an administrator on one hand, but also as a person who understands art, being a performing artist. The question therefore is, how do I marry the administrator and the artist who understands what artists go through, but still make the space be able to accommodate the needs of the artist and the obligation the government expects of it? A few guys have come to my office with various needs. And out of our conversation, we have found a way out of those needs. I think that is something that we should take home. And a few guys have been calling, can you give me an appointment? I tell them, come to my office, we talk. If it is an issue that I can sort, we will sort. And I'm sure none has left my office disappointed, because we have always tried to sort the needs, but also we have always tried to make the artist understand the obligations that has been put on us as the management of the space. And so, sometime last year, when the spaces were now opening up after COVID, we asked ourselves, fine, these guys, we expect them to pay us. But so, what do we need to do to them as a way of trying to help them, having paid us what we expect them to pay us? And if you've been following us, and I'm saying if you've been following us, either you've been producing with us or you've had something to do within the space, then you will know what I'm talking about. We therefore decided that we will help in our small ways, because again, we have very limited funds. But we agreed within management that we will help in our small ways with publicity. One, that once you have booked our space, then we expect you to give us your poster. And your poster will be shared in our social media platforms, all of them. Two, there are those people who request us to go and the next mile. Again, it depends on request because of our limited resources to do bulk SMSs for them. But that one, you must give us the data. 3, we introduced something called the Theatre Digest, an e-magazine, an e-newsletter, where we give out to the public all the shows that have been booked for the following month, but also review the best shows of the previous month. And we felt that is, in our small ways, I'm not saying it is the best, but within our limits of financial capability, those are the certain small things that we can do, at least to help artists who have booked the space with us. Thirdly, and I think this is a reaction to Ondiege and Nice, issue of parking. Now, but before I talk about parking, I want us to understand where we are coming from. Being a state corporation, we have a budget that is approved by Treasury. That budget includes salaries and administration costs. That budget is divided into two. There is what the Treasury gives us, which is called the government grant, which basically goes into paying salaries. And there is what the Treasury expects us to collect, which we call appropriation in aid. Generally, the money is collected from the halls. But now, the Governing Council, in its wisdom, saw that the theater spaces alone cannot make the institution meet the target the Treasury has put. Remember, Treasury gives you a target. Like for the past 2 years, we've been given 42 million every year to collect. We have never reached that target. And so, in the wisdom of the Governing Council, they asked the management to diversify revenue sources. And that is how then it was resolved that parking should be charged. That parking is a service that has been contracted. So we expect our service provider to give us X amount of money at the end of the month. However, as an institution, when there is a performance, we have always gone ahead and instructed our service provider to give certain rates for artists when they have shows. Now, that is revenue we are losing. We have agreed to lose, but to benefit the artist and their clients, or their patrons for that matter. And so, what normally happens is the person booking the hall will come and tell us, my show being on these days, we need parking concession for Saturday, Sunday, but now we say from particular hours. Because again, when the show is starting at 2, we don't expect your audience to come at 8 in the morning. So we say that from 2 or from 1 o'clock, anybody entering that bar will be paying 100 bob. Instead, and it's no matter how long you stay. So again, that is a concession we are giving as an institution to benefit the artists, because we feel we need to take care of the audiences so that they don't feel we are harassing them. Maybe tomorrow they'll not come back to your shows. There are instances, even though Abuto said this is for a later time, but I think it comes into support of artists. Do you want me to go ahead or I stop for the later? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we appreciate the director, please? Maybe I'll speak on my behalf. I learned something new about KCC. I hope you're also doing the same. So, next question is, assuming my brother over here or my brother over here wants to showcase in this hall for their visual arts. So can we talk about the rehearsal spaces, the all charges, and what sets apart corporations and the artist in terms of cost?
Okay, thank you. Now, I don't know. I saw Steve Karakana. Is he somewhere? I know you're busy, but I wished Steve would say something about this hall and exhibition in terms of giving of space before I say anything. And then, is Tini here? Oh, give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Okay, I'm Steve Derito from Karakana Initiative, and I'm really glad to see the cross-section of creatives in the room. We have had like 4 or 5 years very good relationship with the Kenya Cultural Center, Kenya National Theatre, working with also other associations. I have been a photographer. I've been the chairperson of the Photographers Association of Kenya. We've done a number of exhibitions here. I believe this space is open. It's just that perhaps the people out there are not aware that they can come and exhibit here. Also, I think, in fact, we were among the first people several years back. I remember being told that the last time an exhibition was done here, from around 2017, was many decades back. So I believe it is possible, but there needs to be a little more energy put from all corners, including the cultural center, to open the space for visual artists. There is a lot of emphasis on performing arts, and we believe the space should be more. I'm saying this as a person who has more weight on visual arts, and I think I also want to testify what Pundo said, that the door is very open and flexible, and we have gotten a lot of support even from the rest of the team here. But I think more engagement, more output, and more opportunities for creatives, especially visual artists who perhaps feel they get the shorter end of the stick in this compound. Yeah.
Thank you. Why I asked Steve to say something is because when I came into this space, and I was wondering what the exhibitions happen here, the first person I got contact with was Steve. And we talked at length on how would we then bring exhibitions back to the space. And we agreed on something. And I think he started, and it was supposed to be a very long exhibition, but which was cut short by Corona. So in essence, exhibitions happen here. But you see, Kenya Cultural Center, as per that mandate, provides space. The onus is on you artists to provide the product. I have been going out asking people to provide the product because I feel the space should be used. So, I can only work with those who come to us to work with them. And when you come to us, we will work with you based on your needs. So this space actually is for exhibition. And a few performances that have happened here, you will agree with me that initially we were denying you this space. But some of you cry so much, and we agree, but shingo upande. Why? Because we feel performances spoil this space, yet it is supposed to be for exhibition. And that is why, if you're a performer, you are coming on this space, you pay more than an exhibitor coming into this space, or somebody who is just coming to hold meetings. That means we are discouraging performances. But because you people cry a lot, and we understand, because somebody will say, okay, I don't have 20, I don't have 40, I don't have. So we say, okay, there's only this other space, but you must conform. So I would say that is what happens with this space. When I come to charges, our charges first are in our service charter. As a government institution, everything we do should be on our service charter, and our service charters are displayed prominently on both sides of the building. You can see. Now, those charges, and I'm authoritatively saying this because I know Mr. Mwipe will agree with me, they were not arrived at haphazardly. It was after a consultative process with you artists. And some of you in this room made submissions to the governing council then when the charges were being revised. Remember, they were high at some point. But because of your submissions and your meeting with the governing council, they were revised to whatever they are now. Now, you will also agree with me that KCC is the lowest in terms of charging within Nairobi in terms of cultural spaces. But I want to tell you, even within the country, I was in Eldoret, meeting Eldoret theater artists. The only good theaters, not theater, the only good hall they have is KVDA. A capacity of 135. Do you know how much they are charged? Kevin? Kisumu. The only better space in Kisumu is a Kakan Hall. Do you know how much they are charged? 80,000. Now, Aga Khan will give you a hall and a hall. So you have to bring your chairs, you have to bring your curtain, you have to bring your everything. And you've parted with 80,000. So I want to say that Nairobi artists are a bit lucky because this government institution is here for them. But those charges are put because there has to be structures. We can't work haphazardly. So when you pay 40,000 for this, I'm saying 40 because the 20,000 is yours. It's not ours. That's why I'm saying 40. Okay, we'll expect you to pay 60, but 20,000 is yours. After the production, you have it back. When you pay us 40,000, you need to know that the amount of revenue we generate from the theater spaces is not enough. When a bulb goes off on the main theater space, one bulb, those I don't know what their names are. The what? Linda. The halogen bulbs. No. I'm when the halogen bulbs go off, one of them is 9,000. One bulb. Sometimes they go off 20 of them, and you have a show on Friday. Ninaambiwa on Wednesday jioni that we need 20 bulbs because there's a show. Now, our procurement process, you know, this is not personal business. I pick money. We have to do procurement. That is the halogen bulbs. Spotlight, that thing you follow, the follow spot. The follow spot went off. That bulb alone is not there. But we managed to get it somewhere in the industrial area. And one bulb plus VAT is 47,000. So now, I need money to maintain the space. Remember, government gives me money to pay workers. So I need money to maintain the space. That money comes from what I collect around. When you come to that hall and I make you hire your own lights, I feel very bad because I shall have not met the obligation. But when I cannot buy lights, then it means we are operating below par. That is why we are endeavoring very much to make the space very much usable, very much professional for you to enjoy the utility it has to give to the artist. Currently, that space is an eyesore for us, maybe not for you, because your clients tear our seats. I don't know what. Maybe your productions are boring. Ouch. Your clients tear our seats. When they tear the seats, they leave and go. When you have the next show and you look at the space, even for you, the producer, you feel not happy. But the amount of money we get cannot renovate. So we have to again source for money elsewhere. That then means the cost of maintaining the space vis-a-vis the amount of revenue generated within the space do not match. Electricity alone in that space for a month is 149,000. Now, it can be a very sad thing when you come and hear that KNT, Kenya Power wamekuja, no electricity. Very absurd, even for us. So we try as much as possible to ensure those standards are maintained within the limited resources, but still we are saying, that is why we expect you to pay what is there, but still we are saying there are individual needs different from one production to another. We talk and agree. There are people who have come, made a case, and I've also made my case. And when they wanted to ask me to allow them pay 30,000, they said, kama ni hivyo, wacha tunikulipe hiyo 40,000. There are those who have also, you understand their situation, and we say, okay, let's come to an agreement, but that is case by case. And some of you in this room have benefited out of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is another question. I am sorry to put you on the spot today. So, because not every artist knows and has the information that you've explained to us, is there a possibility of KCC partnering with organizations? Let's say, for example, there exist associations of artists, like for example Task. We have like Meru Art and Talent Association and others, whereby we can make sure that they get this information and understand why they have to pay this much, and how we can be able to help make sure that KCC is able to generate enough revenue to keep it afloat. Is there a way where you can have memorandum of understandings with organizations, with associations and artistic bodies?
It's like I should just keep on standing.
Yeah.
Now, as an institution, even though we are for provision of space for performance of drama, dance, music, majority of the performances in this space are theatrical. Theatrical, not theater. I understand. I hope we understand the difference. Theatrical, not theater. and so, when I came into this space, and the first thing I realized was it was a bit quiet. And it looked like, it sounded like a school. And I felt this is not the right atmosphere for a cultural center. The first thing I did is I reached out to a few people so that we see on how we can make the space more vibrant, artists to come back and enjoy the space. By the way, artists, and I said this earlier, that the space is for you, but you must use it responsibly. It's your space, fine, but you have to be governed by rules and regulations. So when I did this, a few artists came and said, okay, fine, we can do that. And that is how we brought back a few percussionists who misbehaved again, and I threw them away. But then we again engaged others. Because discipline is key. We have to agree. Even you as an artist, you only prosper if you're disciplined. Now, after that, we again thought, what is it as an institution we can do to make the artists feel we are in this together? And with that, I don't want to speak, but I want to ask TAPS. TAPS. I know what I'm talking about, because we've had these engagements with them to talk about our engagements and what we have offered to the theater artists as an institution.
Thank you so much for putting me on the spot. I never thought I would prepare a speech or elicit the reactions. But nevertheless, we are here to offer a few solutions. Let me stand in front so that you don't crane your necks. My name is Ken Waudo. I'm the current chairperson of TAPS. Early last year, we engaged with TAPS and we requested quite a number of things. We are happy some of the things are busy taking shape. All right? One of them is the Act. It's very old. An act that was prepared in 1951 and was squarely made to discriminate. There were Zungus, there were Hindis, and there were Africans who were there then. You will have to agree with me, in 2022, that one is obsolete. And we are glad somebody has heard us and something has been made. Now, we entered into an agreement with Kenya Cultural Center, a very solid one. It was to begin, I think, around March, April this year. But the quite unfortunate thing, which I think I also have to report because I see some members here and they have been eager to understand. When we engaged with the Kenya Cultural Center, we went formal. There were contracts to be produced, there were contracts to be signed. Part of the condition was that we also must produce what? Our certificate from the Registrar of Society. It is quite unfortunate that 2 years down the line, and having paid our full fees, the lawyer we were engaging absconded with our money. So we don't have a certificate. That is what is stalling us. Because when you're dealing with an institution like Kenya Cultural Center, it has to be as formal as it gets. And one of the formality is what? Is that certificate from the Registrar of Society. And you have to agree with me, it's quite tedious to get it. And sometimes you get the use of lawyers. And the lawyer has been very shifty, very crafty. Tunakutana, anatoa kitu moja, siku ingine, tunakunywa chai sijui jivanji. Yani, 2 years down the line, the guy has been quite elusive. You don't meet him in the office. The person who met him in his office, unfortunately, died. You know, Deus. Unfortunately, he died. So we don't know his office. When we ask for a meeting, we want to sue, we want to beat him, we want to do anything with him, but we can't. Now that frustration, mali metufikisha tukasema now, let's talk with the ministry. And we have an appointment, luckily we have an appointment tomorrow. They're going to prepare some certificate for us, which is also very valid. And then we present it to the National Theatre so that we can have that agreement in place. What was the agreement? The agreement was very simple. We were looking at theatre companies, the members who are in TAPS, and there are quite a number. If you're a huge theatre company in this country, chances are you are in TAPS. So that was being negotiated on behalf of all those groups, all those groupings, right? So that you can have performances here for the whole year and culminate them with something like peer review. All right? So each and every group was to have a space to do a performance. Some were being paid at very highly subsidized rates. And the ones that were coming in as free, now we're engaging theater companies amalgamate. So the space is there, but now we are encouraging like 3 theater companies to come together and do a specific production, which is free. Now that was the kind of agreement, the kind of arrangement that we were trying to come up with. And we wanted that the whole year, all these theater companies be as vibrant as possible. Because some of these theater companies are very big, but they are dormant, they do one play a year, and they wenda chini ya maji. What if they come together, they do one play, another one. By the time the year ends, we've done quite a number of productions. That was our hope. We are just hoping to bring our theater people from TV and film back to stage. Mr. Ambani, when was the last time you were on stage? Now we want to bring them back on stage because they are very great on TV and very great on film, but this is where they began from. Now we have a younger a younger audience, a younger actors groupings, and there is a huge space between them and the generation that was there before. I wish you'd go and see Akina Ondiege rehearsing their play round. You go and there are a few things that we learn. I hope you allow Carol Odongo to direct you. Yeah, you will learn a few things here and there. All right, Mr. Tosh? Because I know you're one of the theater companies that is very young and very eager to learn. So that spacing was just to amalgamate the members and to make sure that every other time the theater is busy with our members' productions. So hopefully when we get the registration from the ministry tomorrow, I think now that will escalate to a lot of things. Because I'm sure the legal person at the Kenya Cultural Center has the contract, has everything from our end, our IDs, our consent, our, the things that we agreed we will do. It is nothing remaining but a signature and that certificate. So most of the production that will happen within that have an arrangement. The National Theatre keeps this, we keep this. It was negotiated, and it was quite difficult for us to come to that arrangement. But I think this is not the forum for TAPS because not all of you are members of TAPS. Once we have the certificate, we will be able to call for a meeting and now divulge as much information as that can be. That is my take.
Thank you, Waldo. Now, why did we engage TAPS? And I want to say this. I have been in cultural administration for about 20 years now, in government. Government understands or listens easily to organized groupings more than individual persons. And so we felt as an institution that the best way to have our mandate spearheaded or realized faster is if we looked for organized groupings of artists and engaged with them. That is how we chose TAPS. Because at that time, TASC was not even there then. At that time, it was only TAPS that was the only organized grouping for theater practitioners. I want to say something that Nice alluded to, and that about political and religious persons having space. Remember, the mandate of KCC, apart from the first two, is also to organize, to provide space for discourses. These discourses are for any, from literature to science to religion to education. So when we give a space for a religious organization to carry out an activity, a festival, a competition, a discussion, a conference, we are still working within our mandate. Yeah? But again, even if I threw the mandate away, now I want to talk like a businessman. It is Monday to Wednesday. That space is free. So that means Linda and Josiah and Rioba are loitering around that space. So what do? When somebody comes, here's an activity, first there's money, and then I'll also be engaging my colleagues, and they'll be busy. So first, I cannot leave money, because I know there's no artist who wants a space Monday to Wednesday. And again, those guys pay me 80,000. You guys pay me 40,000. So I have to, I'm working within my mandate, but on the business level, this makes also more business sense. So yes, I will still give space, but artists have a priority.
Yes.
one thing that I'm very happy about is that TASC, the Art Society of Kenya, realized that theatre was not well covered. So TASC decided to create TAPS. And it is TAPS members, TASC members, who are the main executives of TAPS. So TASC was created a long time ago. I think it's 2005. So, but we saw the need of addressing specific areas, and that is why we specifically created TAPS to handle that area. And then also we have quite a number of organizations that are also members of TASC. So that's a clarification I wanted to.
So basically, TASC is an umbrella body for all artistic works, both performing and visual arts. So.
Thank you. So a few things. So far, the positives I've gotten is that there are concessions for parking during shows, and the fact that you're trying to take the 42 million that is expected from you, it's not all coming from artists. However, I'm still looking to hear whether there is a plan of us having a sustainable theater group that can help us have longer runs, because then if we have the audience always expecting a show, tutawasaidia kulipa madeni. Secondly, I'm curious about who is considered a resident artist. I am curious about the difference between the Kenya Cultural Center and Bomas. I would like to know how we can help KCC acquire audience data for mass advertisements, because I think there's a way Allianz, they take the data from producers, and so when they're doing a mass text, they're texting Tosh's group, Nice's group, Odo's group. So how can we help you acquire the data? The other thing I'd like to ask is whether there are plans for funding for productions and workshops via the KCC. And is there a plan to review the act that TAPS were working on? How far has that gone? Finally, what is our engagement with the private sector besides renovating the bar? Can EABL come and do a festival for theater? Do you understand? So, hizi ideni tukusaidie kulipa aje kama wasanii. That is all.
And just to add one more thing, as TASC, every end of the year, we have an artist end of the year party, where we had one last year. Yes, so that we. No, there's something I want to bring. Yes, and through that, we are able to network and be able to meet each other. But question is, how can KCC be able to organize an event whereby artists and corporates can be part of growing this space and make this work better, just as you've asked? And before you answer,
good evening. My name is Joyce Karimi Bruno, a member of MATA, but a performing artist. You've talked about TASC, and I would really want to know who are the members of TASC. You've said it's an umbrella body. Am I sure whether MATA is there? Am I sure whether as a performing artist I'm a member? I think it is important you clarify so that we know whether we belong or not. If we don't belong, what is the procedure of becoming a member? Thank you.
Yes. Before I answer that,
excuse me, I want to propose this, and if you allow me, that we deal with issues with KCC, and then we leave you people to talk about your issues, because we have to attend to other things as well. Please.
It's connected.
Hello, maybe if I can just say one thing. I know that has been asked. There is a program that is going on. Last year when we had the meeting, meeting with an A out there, it was realized that there is a need to form a bigger team so that we're able also to address our issues as one unified team. And that is why TASK originally was formed as an umbrella body, but then now, during this process of working out, the issues that artists raised at that meeting, we were lucky to secure a fellowship program that was designed for quite a number of organizations. So TASK was enlisted into that program. It's a 9-month program, and one of the things that it is doing is to help in governance, training in governance and all those things. So issues to do with membership are the things that are being worked on. So we had to put a hold on that, but then now I'm sure by the December you'll have a crystallized idea, and you'll be told how to access, how to become a member, and all those things. But there are good things, there are good plans that are happening. I wish Roy was still here, because he's been helping us work out quite a number of things. Also with how the government can help, work with artist organizations. You're not able to get loans because you're an artist. You don't have a plot to secure a loan. So those are some of the things that are being worked on, so that is your art, even if it is intangible, able to secure a loan? Is your script able for your film? Is it able to secure a loan? All those things are being worked on. So those are things that are in the process, in the plan. So let us not discuss those things right now. I think it is premature at this moment. Our issue today was to discuss how we can partner with the Kenya Cultural Center and work better. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Angeline Mati. I'm in Advocacy and Communication. I'm here to represent Power 254. And as you know, Power 254 is an organization that employs arts to promote social change. And yeah, he asked about a memorandum of association. And you mentioned such things as rates and publicity. And okay, for example, what we do a lot of time, we work with arts so that they can promote social change, and at the same time to to promote their work. So is there a space or maybe a guideline on how to maybe subsidize such the rates for such organizations that are promoting the arts? Thank you.
Thank you. I will start with that. Now, when you are promoting artists, it should not be lost on you that KCC is the bigger artist. So you can also just promote us as well. But then, and as I said, it depends on the activity you have. Our doors are open. Let us discuss. There was the initial question of resident artist. Now, earlier, there was a theater company belonging to Kenya Cultural Center. Yeah? And in the setup of Kenya Cultural Center, the artists who were in it was called Nairobi Theater Company? In that theater company then were the resident artists of the Kenya Cultural Center. In other words, a resident artist of KCC is that artist who is in KCC's payroll but is used for productions belonging to KCC. That then means KCC becomes also a production house with its theater company. That is given. And very soon we will have. Secondly, is the issue of data. Data is very important. And that is why, starting this year, we opened a box office. That box office serves two purposes. We don't like when new people come, unatandika meza hapo nje na kuuza tickets. it does not look professional. That is why we decided that we are going to open a box office so that during your production, you can go in with our officer and sell your tickets from inside. So that hata upepo usiende na pesa, in case there are a lot of money. But there's more security, there's more decency, there's more professionalism in that. I think theaters, serious theaters across the world operationalize box offices. And so that is what we did. But then inside that box office, there's also the officer sitting there is responsible for collecting data. I'll tell you something why that data is very important to us as government. We have realized that one, our sector is not taken seriously because we cannot prove that we generate enough income as a sector. That is why everybody else will first get money, then the culture sector or the creative sector wanapewa when everybody else has got. Yet, we compete with manufacturing, by the way, in terms of revenue or in terms of GDP. And so, issue of data is lacking within the sector to aid or to support certain policy issues we are talking about. And that is why we decided to be taking data at two fronts. One, in terms of attendance. Now that helps us because we want to know that how many artists, how many audiences come, how many persons come as audience to our productions. So that we have a plan, and I think I will give Kevin some, is sat here for a long time. I think he needs to speak now. Where is that Adama? Yes. I want Kevin to talk about the program we are planning to do. Okay, pesa ndio hatuna, but we have had a program we want to do about kuchechemua theater.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So my name is Kevin Kimani. I'm the program officer, but the title is Principal Creative Production Officer. So I deal with all programs that take place here. So number one is on data. As the CEO has said, even funding, the government funds institutions and agencies that provide data on the impact they are making to Kenyans. So if you're not able to prove that in a production we are able to sell and generate revenue of $1 million in a weekend, therefore translating to 52 million in a year on just productions, then the government will not take us serious. So we need that data, and we need your support to provide accurate data so that at the end of the year we can table this data and present a case for more funding. Sawa. Two, we need so that support us to be able to achieve that. I've been told to talk about Chechemua Theatre. What we want to do is to revive the theatre industry. And for a long time, and I'm sure you guys have seen what play done by just the other week has the kind of vibrancy it has provided in the industry. I will marry when I want. You guys have seen that. And that used to be the case in the 90s. And it used to sustain people. Waudo can testify. And it used to pay them. We want to go back there. But we cannot do that alone. We depend on you. And therefore we want to do a campaign, and we'll be coming out to you soon to help us in that campaign and be able to generate a lot of noise on why people need to come and watch productions. I went to Sweden and they provided data that out of 10 million people, 8 million people in Sweden visit the theater at least once a year. That's 80%. You get? Therefore, meaning they even have productions for 6-month babies. People go to babies who crawl are taken to watch a production in a space, and they are professional practicing that. And we can get there, but we need that support. We need to work together. So when we tell you, provide data to us, we will not ask you to pay more because you sold 1 million tickets. No, we just want that data. Please give that data to us. Because some of you, we ask you for that data. You had 310 people in the audience, but you're telling us you had 91. It won't help us. Sawa. 2, we're also introducing a ticketing platform. So when you come to us and you hire space, we're giving a ticketing platform with that space. So that's our digital ticketing platform. And I'm sure we will do that at the lowest price ever. Because we just want to make sure that, because right now, you sell on ticketing platforms, they take 10%. So we want to see, can we do that at a cheaper rate? So that most of the revenue that you have can also remain on your end. And also that will also help us get that data, because the companies you're currently using for ticketing cannot provide that data to us. You get? So that's one thing. 2, and that the platform is already out, so you feel free, and it's ready. It's theatre.co.ke. It's ready for use. So if you have an upcoming show, whatever show it is, you can sell through that ticket. And therefore, the other thing is that we produce monthly bulletin, it had been said, but some of you provide us data late. So we delay in releasing the bulletin because you have a poster, but you've not sent to us. And the synopsis, it goes with the poster and synopsis and contact details, so that people seeing the bulletin can call. We've had people who are coming to tour Kenya and have seen the bulletin and call and say, please reserve for me seat, so that when I'm in Kenya, we can do that. CEO has forgotten to mention that we're also working with the Kenya Tourism Board. We are starting engagements, so that also the National Theatre and the Kenya Cultural Center can be listed as a tourist destination when people are visiting. All these plans are there, but we need your support. And we also need you to put up professional production, so that when they come, they also see the need to come and come again. That's how. Yes, so that's it.
Let's appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you see, we have competent people who know what they're doing and who are working towards the betterment of the space and the sector. Actually, we and always in our meetings, I wish we would allow you one time to come into our meetings. We always say that when the artist comes, does a production, and is happy and goes home back with money, that is our happiness, because that is what we are here for. Somebody asked KCC versus Bomas. Yeah, I've answered that question several times, and I don't like it, by the way, because and it's serious, because even in Treasury, when I go to Treasury and I say the CEO of the Kenya Cultural Center, somebody asks, sasa mko Bomas? And I feel very bad because Kenya Cultural Center and Bomas are very different entities. But we will not go into the details of duplication in government. We are all aware about that. But then, Kenya Cultural Center, as per mandate, which I had said earlier, is that space for enjoyment of culture, Kenyan culture. And that's why I think, at some point I was thinking now, what is our point of convergence with task? But then I reminded myself very fast that our space is for enjoyment of culture. And in our mandate, we provide for music, dance, theater. So yes, so we are together. Bomas, from the name, I want to get that, was formed out of the realization that visitors, tourists, that's why it's in tourism, tourists were supposed to have a one calling point where they can see the Bomas, Kenyan homesteads. And so that when a tourist comes to Kenya and they want to experience Kenya in one car space, Then they would go to Bomas and they're taken to a Turkana homesteader, Luo homesteader, Kikuyu homesteader, and then they see, okay, so these are the homesteads of Kenya. Now, when they see the homestead, I'm now saying what Bomas is. The homesteads of Kenya, they went ahead and decided to add value to the homesteads of Kenya. By doing what? Incorporating dance. So that when the visitor comes, he is taken into a thingira, then it is accompanied by a dance belonging to that tribe. When he is taken to Adala, he is given a dance for that, just to add value to the homesteads element. That is as far as Bomas is concerned. It was a tourism destination for that. But by the way, what are we selling apart from beaches and wildlife? We are selling culture. So culture is a major component in tourism. But coming to KCC, then we have a broader mandate, because then we should be experiencing Kenyan culture in all its facets. That is why you will have music, dance, theater, musicals, exhibition of works, and at some point we will be treating you to Kenyan culinary exhibition. We had done it once, but we did it off-site. We did it in Coast because we wanted to tell the coastal people Kenya Cultural Center exists, and so we did a culinary exhibition in Coast. Next time we'll do it here, and we hope to bring 47 chefs. There are 42. 42 chefs. No, there are more than 42. Yes, now there's Makonde, there's those Zimbabweans who were brought the other day. Yes, so we are 45 or something. So now, that then means KCC and Bomas are different. But we are in the culture space. So when Kevin says that we want KCC to be a destination, we don't provide the same product that the tourist will see in Bomas. And that's why we are asking you to be more creative, more polished, so that then whatever they see here will be different from what they are going to see in other destinations. That can be granted, hopefully, but it comes with a cost. That the product must be international in value. At some point, I was grappling with the idea, and I'm sorry for theater producers here, I was grappling with the idea that must we allow everything to appear on KNT? And I was like, it's not right. There are certain productions, and you'll bear with me, that should not appear on KNT. But because I need money, there are certain productions that are done on Ukumbi that should actually land on KNT. But because the producer is incapacitated in a way, he will choose that space. I have been trying, and I think we are coming out of it, we'll get a way out, so that anything that lands on KNT meets the standards of an international professional stage. Na ni nyinyi watu mtatusaidia kufanya hiyo, so that we don't say KCC wameamua kutubagua. We are getting consultations going through, and we see now how best can we work with our artists so that anything that lands on KNT is worth watching on KNT. Funding for productions and workshops. Now, unfortunately, we don't have money to fund productions. Because I told you, we receive a grant of around 3 million in a month for salaries and to pay other expenditures. And then the rest of keeping the space maintained, we are supposed to get from you people. So we cannot fund productions. However, because we are moving away from real estate in the sense that KCC should not only provide space, we have tried within our small funds to do workshops for artists. In most cases, upcoming artists. And when we do those trainings, we use you people. I think the last one we did was on production, on drama, and we were looking at young upcoming guys and training them on scripting, directing, marketing, and production. And we still used you people. I think there was Gilbert, there was Baga. That name is difficult. Baga Muhunda, there was Zipi, there was Suki, and who else? There was this guy who was handling marketing. Not a year. Okay. But then you see, when we have such trainings, we use you people to help our artists. Why do we go into this? Because we feel there are these young people who have not gone into anybody's drama school, but they feel the passion to be producing. So what do? We impart those skills. Remember, as an institution, we have a plan to have a curriculum so that guys would come to KCC and train in several fields of theater. But then, remember, according to our mandate, we are supposed to provide space. So when we are developing a curriculum, then we need to seek partnerships with institutions that have been mandated to carry out training. So we are still in consultation so that we can develop this curriculum and work with an institution that will then allow us to train, but then they certify. Because most of our guys value certificate more than the knowledge. So when you train and let them go, they'll say, that's not serious. So we are still working on the certification process and look at which institution is able to partner with us so that we have the certification. So that is what you can do, and that's what our funds allow us to do. Those small workshops here and there. Review of the KCC Act. As Kenneth said, it's a very old act, very archaic, and there have been several attempts and several endeavors by you people to help review the act. However, that process has never seen the light of day. Why? Because at some point it was started on a wrong footing, I would say, because then it lacked the necessary support it required from the institution. So when I came in, I held initial meeting with the old one, the old review task force, and I listened to their issues. But the most important thing was they were working without any official recognition because they did not have appointment letters, and so they didn't have a legal position to review the KCC Act. And at some point, if that continued, we would have met some roadblocks going forward. So I decided, and having been advised by the Governing Council and by the minister, by the review of acts is at the purview of the minister, because then the cabinet secretary, because then the cabinet secretary is the one who then presents the act to cabinet and forwards it to several other spaces, including the parliament. So it is in the purview of the cabinet secretary, and that then means any process must begin from the cabinet secretary's blessing, and that is how then a new task force has been constituted to review the act. The new task force was gazetted sometime. And so, what are we doing as an institution? This act must be reviewed by the artists. The task force will not move without the input of the artists. What have we done as an institution? Tomorrow, there will be a gazette notice in the Daily Nation asking you people to make submissions on what you want to be reviewed in that act. Because then that informs the initial basis for operations. We want to involve all stakeholders as much as possible going forward, because that will help us achieve what the consumers of the product feel they need. And then other timelines will be given as we move on. So look out for that notice tomorrow and make your submissions, and let's then keep engaging. Remember, the mandate of the institution as provided in the current act is very limiting, because then it will not cater for all these things we are talking about going forward. New issues have come up, new concerns have come up, which needs to be addressed by the institution. But that cannot happen if it is not enshrined in that act. So your contributions will help the institution have a better footing so that the institution can serve you better. Partnerships. We encourage partnerships. And it has happened. There have been productions sponsored by KLB. Not from KCC, but from you people. And when they come, we give them space. Sometimes they come, and by word of mouth, they say, we will pay. So you have a very big, nicely done production and event, then you guys go. So when we chase after you, say, si KLB alisema watawalipa. Fuata wao. I mean, yeah, we do, but eventually they pay us. So yes, partnerships are encouraged. And you realize we cannot do much as an industry because of the limitations we have financially without bringing in those partnerships. So we have no problem as an institution. Bring Safaricom. Let them sponsor your event. We'll humbly. I will say this. On the onset, it is difficult for an institution like us to engage that. But when you start the process, we are ready to give a word for you. Now, somebody came to my office and said they have been producing at KCC and they want some recommendation. And when I went and asked Ivy, are you here? When I asked Ivy for her records, we can't find her records anywhere. So again, you might ask us to put a word for you, but we'll go back. Because again, also we cannot just put a word. We have to be truthful. When we are asked something, we are able to answer. So we'll look at whether you have really been producing with us, what are your productions, and then we'll put a word for you. Finally, Kevin had talked about the ticketing platform. Please make use of it. It is a way of making your work easier, but also limiting on the resources you use to produce. So that when somebody is charging you 10% for collecting your money, KCC can charge you as low as 5%. Yeah? So we look at those. But what we're saying is we have to agree. It's not something we'll say, this is what we are giving you. We have to sit down, agree on what is the percentage. Yeah? And then, so make use of the platform. theatre.co.ke. Kenya Cultural Center has established a recording studio. I want you guys to make use of this recording studio. You can record your those adverts are called what? Voiceovers. We even have you can even record video, because we also have a camera there for video recording. So we are commissioning sometime next week. It's ready, everything, but just remaining the commissioning element. And so you can record, even spoken word artists, the musicians here, or whatever, you can record. Location is at the basement of KNT, and it is for you people. Again, we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you at the costs. Yes, below market, definitely below market rates, because you see, now one thing as government is to we are enabling you guys. We are providing an enabling space. Now, it beats logic if the enabling space is at a market rate. So definitely it's supposed to make your work easy, but have your product. Finally, I hope there's no more question after this. KCC was commissioned in 1952. This is 2022. We are celebrating 70 years of Kenya Cultural Center in November. Now, this is what I want you to do. Soon we'll send a call for a production which will be commissioned by Kenya Cultural Center to celebrate 70 years of KCC. So when you see that call, please chezeni kama nyinyi. It will be fully commissioned by KCC. And so, but again, there will be other activities. So again, we call upon you, do serious productions, because around that time, you never know. KCC might decide, because we are celebrating 70 years, we are also giving back to our people. So prepare for those productions. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. Yes, we want to take some questions. Please allow, we can have the microphone. I'll start with him, and then we'll go to you, then to you, then to you, and lastly to you. Please.
Habari zenyu. Nitazungumza kwa Kiswahili tafadhali. It's okay. Kwa majina naitwa Maronga Mayaka. Let me just say I'm a creative na I'm a lover of art in general. So my ideas were, first of all, unajua the online presence. Nimerudi kwa kizungu tena, sorry. Online presence. You know, I see other organizations, for you to push your brand and for people to know what you're doing really. Like for instance, what is done here, the events that happen here. There's supposed to be a dedicated photographer and a videographer whose work is to post regularly after these events so that people can know we have these amazing things happening here. Another thing is the ones who are heading the organizations and the ones who are part of the organization. A day like today, people should know how our CEO looks like on the website when they access the website, I'm sorry to say. So there's supposed to be a sort of rebranding so that when they go online, they are able to know CEO wa Kenya Cultural Center ndo huyu, assistant CEO ndio huyu, aya staff members ndo hawa. Unaona mwisho wa siku mtu akikuja akienda kwa website anajua CEO ndo huyu, nitampataje na kila kitu. So there's that rebranding, kukuwe na ile another kind of image, sababu wanaona kama msanii personally nikitaka mnijue, I'll go to all my social media platforms from time to time, kama tuseme in 3 months time, najieka pale, I change, let's say my photos, I change my profile kidogo, naiwekea kachumvi ama kasukari, depends. Ndio mwisho wa siku sikupi the same test every time. I give you a different thing yenye uta keep anticipating for more and more. About the studio. Now, mimi bado na insist on online because naona watu wamerudi online sana. I think there should be like kuna kitu kama easy the brand colors that are being used sahi. Kuna venye I'm asking, is there a way like you see, let me use an example of the media houses. Wao wakibadilisha sura yao, wanaleta new colors kwa kipindi fulani. Wakileta new colors kama venye leo studio imekuja, studio kilonchiwa, kunafanywa kitu kama event. Kukifanywa event, kunakuja hawa partners wenye tulisema tunaweza fanya nao kazi. Hizi organizations zingine zinakuja na bana zao zinaziweka hapo, alafu hii inakuwa na another look, so that mtu akiangalia, unajua kinachonivutia macho lazima nitakitamani ama vipi? Ambacho kinanivutia macho kwanza, kwa mfano kama msichana akibadilisha nguo mara 3 kwa siku, nitamwangalia zaidi ya yule ambaye anabadilisha nguo mara 1 kwa siku. Hapo inakuaje? So I think that online ile, yani nikiingia kwa internet kama sahi, wale ni wapenzi wa Instagram na TikTok, ukiingia ama piano tour is everywhere. Nataka nikiingia kwa internet naona Kenya Cultural Center ndo hiyo. Iko kila mahali, there's an hashtag, there are photos being posted, there are videos. Studio ikilaunchiwa, I want to see something like a montage kama ile ya movie, ndo hiyo explain tuko na studio sasa, our rates are below zile za kawaida na tutakuwa tunawafanyia hivi na hivi. Unaona, inakuvutia sana na inafanya the more hivi vitu vitavutia watu, the more pesa itaingia na itarahisisha mambo kabisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge the guys watching us from your cell phones and your computers. Karibuni sana. It was you then,
Asante. Kwa majina naitwa Ondiege, nilikuwa hapa mbeleni. I think in terms of just opening up the partnership, Bwana Pundo, sio kwamba tunatafuta sponsors peke yake ndio waleta pesa, ndio partners. National Theatre, actually Cultural Center, iko situated centrally with so many other players, whether they're cultural players or educationists or development partners or business community or tourists. And one of the things we did many years ago, before some of us had hairs in other places, we came to the theater and took advantage of the Norfolk, having tourists who would stream in here for a few hours or a few minutes while they're having lunch there for a small performance at the Cultural Center. For example, Kumbi Mdogo, which would be busy every afternoon with some drumming sessions or some kind of performance. This would basically attract the tourists coming from Norfolk Hotel, for example. But also, if you look at the institutions around here, KBC kwa mfano, tulikuwa na a very strong partnership na KBC kwamba every show inafanyika hapa inatokea pale art scene, inaitwa zile programs za KBC zetoaje zile za usanii zile. Hii ilikuwa ni kama obviously lazima utaona KBC kwanza kabla unaiposta National Theatre kwamba kuna show inakuja National Theatre. University is just one minute away or 1 meter away from the Cultural Center. Students are a very big community of people who would watch shows and actually build audiences. And so what kind of partnership are you looking at? What possibilities do you think there exist if you were to reach out to these kind of institutions around, just to bring the visibility, to create the audience, and to take advantage of the media KBC has for us? And then the National Theatre is seated geographically along what used to call the Hollywood Street of Nairobi, because it starts from the museum all the way mpaka go down Art Center. And that included the museum, KBC, Cultural Center, this theater here. This theater here in the university, then Gute, then Alliance, then Phoenix, then it was a one straight line of entertainment, arts work, cultural activities, and even today we have that Masai market. It's somewhere within the line. So how can you leverage on that? What kind of advantages can you have? For example, that Masai market happens on Sundays. There's a show here on Sunday, and there's no one watching. wale wazungu wamenunua zile vishanga kisha wanaenda kuona animals na kuna wasanii hapa kwa mfano. So this partnership can open up these opportunities for other constituencies of people who can actually help us build the profile of the theater. Yeah, asante.
Thank you very much. I see we are opening up. Tunaendelea vizuri.
Okay, my name is Christine Musandu. I'm a creative. Most people identify me with fashion, but I'm a general artist. Now, Bwana CEO, you said you should not be asked a question. May I have a question? Since I sat here, I've not heard you talk how KCC will help creatives fight mental health. Mental health. You see, we are in this room. You may assume everyone is okay, but people are fighting mental health. And those rates for sure, Bwana CEO, those rates will kill artists. Sometimes, because we are in some people work individually, but some are groups. But even in groups, we have groups in Kibera slums, in Mathare slums, and maybe some of them are not supported. How are they going to afford those rates? Yeah.
Allow me to answer this one, please, Bwana CEO. As part of task, artists' welfare, mental health is one of the biggest concern, and we are looking for a way to partner with KCC to make sure that we can be able to have a room whereby we can be able to offer group therapy sort of programs, and we can be able to bring also the Psychologists Association also on board, being a member of the organization, so that we can be able to assist association artists deal with mental health issues. So that is it is on the line. It's something we are working on. Before I come to you, there was somebody. Yes, it was you, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Martin Githinji. I'm a performing artist. I'm at Dungat points zangu kama 9, but it is fine. We shall move on. All right, but mostly it was on the move from the world is moving into a digital space, and we have to either run with the program or we shall become extinct. So, beyond just marketing the shows, are there any, or rather, we could also propose ideas on how we can move some of the performances, not in their entirety, into the digital space? Because we have, like when we were performing the best show of 2022, Ngahi Kandeda, when we were performing I Will Marry When I Want, we had people from the diaspora asking, oh my gosh, how can I get to watch this show? And I believe the theater space has the capacity to also allow the shooting and live streaming to such spaces, and with such platforms that can create e-tickets to have them watch performances, in the digital space. So right now, venye ungesema ati lazima watch the YouTube na ukipeana link YouTube watu wengi wataona, squeeze it can be one person, one link, na mtu analipia hiyo, such things. And then this was a point of discouragement for me as a content creator on social media as well. So we had our show that was running here, and I don't know what the arrangement is between the Kenya Cultural Center and the security personnel here, where there are specific days where I see a lot of the younger kids, the younger generation of content creators coming here and just shooting their content. But mimi ile siku nilikuwa nikishoot yangu, nilisimamishwa, nikaambiwa unafanya nini? Ikabidi nimetoa poster, ndio hii jina yangu kwa poster, niko na show hapa, I'm trying to do content to market my own play. Yet I did not see them need to do that. So I needed to understand how come. But let's move to the digital space. Thank you.
One second. In regard to that, so allow me to talk about something most of us rarely think about, rarely talk about, and that is something called the intellectual property rights. So I would want to invite a lawyer for 1 minute, so that they can talk about intellectual property and how well we can be able to deal with that. I'm talking that in regard to the link, okay? So please, 1 second.
Good evening. So my name is Esendi Kenneth, and I'm an enthusiast of intellectual property rights. I've been in the field for the longest time possible. I guess I can even say I schooled Dr. Ezekiel Mtua and Harvey the other day. They've been trying to use some of my ideologies when it comes to intellectual property law. And intellectual property law, it's a very wide range of it's a very wide field looking at IP, it's the creation of the minds. We're looking at, so you protect those expressions, and we're starting from literature, audiovisual, sound recording, and all that. And I've tried to master that for the longest time. IP, it's chapter 12 of the Constitution. They're in handy with culture. It's culture and intellectual property rights. It's the same thing. I've not heard anyone talk about it, but I guess we've talked about it. So I've been in the field for the longest time, and most of what is being produced here around the country, it's never protected. Most of the time, I find people and I'm asking, your script, is it copyrighted? Someone had asked me, hey, am I supposed to copyright a script? Even with that script name that someone has come up with, it's supposed to be trademarked. Now the slogan that goes out there, like Hakuna Matata was copyrighted at Hollywood and all that, and we just let it go. So some of these things, we have them, but we then leave them to the international market. So I don't get it. Kenya is also an international market because we have people like Lupita. So I don't understand why we keep on talking about the international market, and we also that international market. So I guess maybe basically I could explain this over and over again, but I'll get it back to you. In case I get another chance, I'll be able to give you the nitty-gritties of IP law. Thank you.
Asante sana. Before we go to the five of you, I want to give the CEO 1 minute to at least handle and unpack at least some of this information.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I will seek your indulgence because I have been out of office for the half day, and then I sat in this meeting, but there's a lot I need to attend to. So I would want us to allow me to answer these questions quickly, and then you allow me to leave because it's almost going to 5, and there are a few things that needs to be done. So online presence. I think, and if you have been following us well, this is the only time we have tried to be very visible, but it is because we have just begun. So we will welcome those ideas of making us more visible. But at least we have started from somewhere, something that was never there before. We are active on Instagram, we are active on Twitter, we are active on Facebook. But again, we also have a bulk SMS, but then that is for specific issues. Rebranding, there has to be reason for rebranding. Because again, being a government institution, when we are changing our logo, then there are a few explanations we have to do and get a few approvals. So yes, but there's need. Actually, have been asking myself, why this? Yeah, but now since it had been approved by those who came before us, we only need to make a case for ourselves and get those fresh approvals and see whether we can change this so that the logo has meaning for KCC. At some point, somebody asked me, a prominent Kenyan asked me, kwani hii institution yenu ni ya ODM? because of that orange thing. And so people have various interpretations. Yes, so there's need for it, but there's a process to it. Making use of partners. Yes, it has happened before. Actually, there are times when PAL, I think we all know PAL. Are we? When PAL was being sustained by Norfolk. There's a time when PAL was being sustained by Norfolk. And yes, we are re-engineering these conversations, and very soon we will strike a balance. We are in good conversations. We have mended our relations with Norfolk. It was a bit bad, but now we are in good conversations with them, and yes, we can progress. At some point, I had engaged Standard, because if you remember, kitambo kidogo, I know Abuto, Ondiege, and Waudo will know this. Kitambo kidogo, there was always a free advert on Nation. Yes. We are trying to see where the link got cut, because that again is another way of then improving our visibility, but not our visibility as an institution, but the productions, because then people will see. If you see, and Githinji was bragging, but why was that production okay? Apart from the quality, why was it so much? Why was it sold out? Because of marketing. So there's something that marketing does, which some of us have not got right, and I wished we can bring our effort together, bring our creativity together, and break through in marketing. No. Actually, okay. Let me break it down. Okay. Can we proceed, please? Now, if you finish here, what will the restaurant do for you people? Christian, mental health. When I came here, I had an activity which was tackling mental health, and I gave the whole for free. And that one we had, there was Edwin, I don't know whether we remember that activity, where we were having conversations around mental health. And yes, the problem with that bedevil's artist is issue of mental health. And we want to try as much as possible within our powers to try and help that situation. Last week or the other week, 2 weeks ago, we also had a mental health situation under the Mugumo courtyard, and so yes, we have it in our thinking, and we want to engage as many artists as possible so that issue of mental health are handled. Rates hapo tukanyagie tu hapo. Use of digital space. Now, if you guys remember, at some point I called you to Ukumbi because I needed your ideas on how we can do a mobile platform, because that was in the middle of COVID. We didn't know how long COVID would take, but we needed productions to go out. We indeed developed a mobile app, which is up, but we had a problem with doing a web. It's called web. Doing the same to be on web. As it is, you can only access on your phone, but again only on Android. Apple is giving us problems. They don't want to give us the that license. We have paid, but emails are not getting responded to. So Apple is still a problem, but Android is up. But now we needed to have that app be able to be accessed on even on the computers. Secondly, we also had a problem with payment. And again, Safaricom took long to synchronize. There's a code they're supposed to be sending to synchronize that so that we have, I think those have been resolved. So we have an app which can facilitate what Martin was talking about. But then we need to popularize it and we need to make it more user-friendly. So yes, we are in the process. Now, security. Before, when you are seen with a camera in this compound, you are supposed to pay. True or false? But we realized most of the people creating that content don't have the ability to pay. And so we wanted to bring in some level of control so that not everybody comes in every day. And that is why we said that every Thursday it is open for content creation. So come with your camera. If you have a studio, come station it somewhere, as long as you don't knock anybody's car, and do your thing. No security personnel will disturb you. But if you come on any other day, then you utatupea kitu. Sawa sawa. No, that's different. That one you have to liaise with Ivy. And again, you see now, most of you, and I had this problem with one artist who walked in, called the press, and wanted to address the press. Now, as a government institution, I don't know what you're going to say. So what if you start to canaring government inside a government premise? You will leave and then they will come for me. Because it then means I allowed you. So you can't just walk in and start doing stuff. Yes, it's your space, but there is some level of control. Talk to us. Tell us this is what I want to do. Then we'll say, fine, ifanye at this level. So yes, we only need those consultations. Now, when you are creating your content, we need to know what content you are creating, which is, because then the background is KCC. So is it content that goes with our values? Is it an acceptable content that is, I mean, you know what Kenyan values are. Some are unwritten rules, but then we are not doing censorship. We are not doing that because I know artists have a problem with censorship. Somebody tried it and alijua hajui. But we are not doing that. As we are saying, can we be responsible for our content, because that content again should be reflecting the aspirations and values of our nation and what us as government will be happy to be identified with. So once in a while we'll be telling you, when you bring us a synopsis, hii hapana, hii as a government institution tafuta pale pengine. So please, they are not written rules, but they are in our head. I understand there's a country with a constitution that is not written anywhere. Yes, so those are some of the constitutional elements that are in our heads, and they're not written, but they govern us as a society to live harmoniously and also in respect to one another. With those many, allow me to serve other Kenyans.
You might want to hear what they are pitching. It will be less than 5 minutes. And I think also if we're looking at collaborations with the media, I think it is very important for you to probably listen to this gentleman. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hello, how are you? So first of all, see, head shoulder ni one of our cultural, heritage. Head shoulder ni centos. Sindio, simama kidogo. Tumekaa sana. Sameni kidogo. We have been sitting for a long time and we are still young. Okay. So let's changamka kidogo before I see you. Yeah. Head shoulder ni centos. Head shoulder ni centos, ni centos, ni centos. Head shoulder ni centos. What happened? Last time, chap. Head, shoulder, knee, centers, knee, centers, knee, centers. Head, shoulder, knee, centers. Eye, ears, nose, and mouth. All right, very good. Have a seat. Great. So, I want to tell you a story about a midwife. Okay? Yes, I will tell you my name. I want to tell you a story about a midwife. So there was once a kingdom, an African kingdom, where this kingdom used to be well populated, had lots going for them. Okay, great crops. There was great harvest going on, but it was a weak kingdom without an army. And so they were getting beaten and they were forced to pay taxes and all that. And so they went to the seer and they told the seer, what can we do? Is there a hope? And the seer said, like an oracle, look, days to come, there will arise a soldier who will lead us against our enemies, against the kingdoms attacking us, and we shall win. And he is going to liberate our community. And so did a soldier arise as the time went by. And he rose up the ranks of the military. He was a great soldier. He was a great fighter. And he led the army of this particular kingdom to fighting their enemies, and to the biggest enemy they had, the one who was forcing them to give taxes. And this warrior, as I mentioned, led the community, and the community succeeded. And when he came back, they told him, we need you to be our king. We need you to be our king. But when he became king, there were questions asked, where did this man come from? Where did this king come from? Now, legend says that there was a woman long time ago with a complicated birth. And the midwife was far away. And it was difficult for her to give birth without a midwife. And so the community came together and they gave a donkey. They contributed a donkey. They give food to the donkey. They give food to the midwife for the journey to get to the location that she needed. And she made it to the birth. And that's how the king, the soldier, the baby boy was born. Okay, so I told you the story about midwife. Now, we have partnered with KTN to have a show called Beyond Tomorrow. My name is Kamau Mwangi, the Dominic Kamau. I am a TV host, at least that's the aim at KTN. But my day job is I'm a psychologist and lecturer at Tangazo University. So when you're speaking about mental health, I was like, yes, that's an area of interest. But at the same time, I'm very much interested in art. And those of you who know the story of the art is that the Greek society used to force people to go to the theater, to the arena, to watch plays, because it also helped to embed and to unite the community. And we had the place where they used to act. That place used to be called the orchestra. Today, of course, orchestra means a whole new place, but it's a stage where you perform. The word orchestra. So they used to go there so that they can experience catharsis by watching these plays and uniting the community. So that was the goal. Now, what is the midwife? We have a Beyond Tomorrow show. Beyond Tomorrow show is the midwife. You are the ones with the baby, okay? The creative industry is the mother with the baby, and we want to provide a platform that we can showcase. And that's what we have done. We have partnered with KTN, and we've got even our CEO right here, Hawkins Okumu. Kindly stand. For more details, please stand. Hawkins Okumu. He is right there. He is part of the team. We have also another director. She has stepped out shortly. But also we have another official from Standard Group. I just wanted to highlight, even though he is here as a creative artist, but also I think he is also part of the Standard Group. Am I right? Yes, yeah, so right there. So thank you so much. And so the goal that we want to do is to help you give birth to this baby that you have, the creative industry. We've got stories to tell. We've got lots that our culture is holding. We've got stories that we want to showcase to the community. We've got content that needs a platform. And that's the partnership we want to be. We want to be the platform that helps you to give this baby, this soldier, and this king to the world. But we are only the midwife. We need a donkey, okay? We need your support to help you. Now, the people who helped the boy to be born ended up saving their own community without knowing. So by assisting Beyond Tomorrow, you're also assisting yourselves to have a platform upon which your content can be showcased to the world. So help us to bring this baby to the world, this soldier and this king. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I think a reminder. Okay, program director, do you allow him to remind us? There's somebody who wants to remind us.
Yes, yeah.
It is an initiative by them to support Kenya Cultural Center have more lights. So I think it's important to put it across here so that whoever feels to come for the show, just come, so that the proceeds will be left to buy more lights for Kenya Cultural Center, so that you don't need to hire more lights when you have events.
Thank you, Alekok. Thank you, Alekok. Actually, yes, and the show is on 11th and 12th. And it's a very nice show. You come up. Tickets are only 2,500. We will look at those who come, so that when you come to me and you said I participated, I look at you also with good eyes. Having said that, Momanyi. Okay. Tumetoka mbali. Okay. Sawa.
Okay, thank you for this space. I represent visual art industry. Visual art industry is a sector on its own that has a lot of challenges. Maybe some of them are not very similar to performing art. And for quite some time now, the industry is like going down, collapsing due to a lot of those challenges. And one of them is that we don't have physical spaces in this city or in this country where artists can bring their art for exhibitions, for marketing, for whatever, like art galleries that used to be there. So that was the reason why I sometimes back came to see if we can have a space somewhere where we can have a full-time presence. Because marketing visual art is not like the way you can organize a show and put some information out there. It requires full-time and a lot of strategies in producing marketing materials to make the tourists aware that there's a place somewhere that they do the marketing of visual art. So we have been having such challenges that we feel that visual art is completely excluded from most of art activities in this country. A reason that I even wanted to see the minister himself to try to give the information about the sector. There's another issue that was mentioned here about task being the umbrella body. I don't think we are properly informed about it, because Kenyan National Visual Artists Association, which I represent as the national board chairman, has 32 branches countrywide, and we have a lot of communication with the artists, visual artists within the country, and we normally have some meetings, we organize activities, and we wish if such umbrella body is formed, we need to be informed so that we take part of it, and we give our part of. Okay, so my issue is that let us be involved in those events as a visual art industry, and if it's allowed, we need at least to have a space in the Kenya Cultural Center where we can have just like a full-time gallery where we can do the promotions for where there is art space, visual art space somewhere. Because if we come, the reason why we don't come to exhibit here is because if you come for just a short time as a visual artist to come to display your work here, you pay money and you don't sell single work. You won't be here again anymore. So visual art has a lot of challenges. It requires a lot of effort in doing marketing promotions because our market is not local. Our targeting market is tourists. So by the time we make the tourists aware that the visual art is found in Kenya Cultural Center, it takes quite some time. So that's why we need to be accommodated in this space.
Thank you, Bwana Mumanyi. We have talked at length about this, and the truth of the matter is we are constrained with space as an institution. Some of our staff also share offices. We are limited with space, and so it will be difficult to offer any more space for artists. I wish we could have enough, but we don't have any space. But we are still making those conversations now. I just wanted to say, as I leave, first, staff for KCC, can we stand up? Those who are in here. Thank you. These are some of the staff we have. Ivy is left. All of us know Ivy. Yeah. You see, we have a very young workforce, very energetic. And so that is Kevin, ICT. This is Josiah, technical. That is Faith, legal. We have Linda, technical. Rioba, technical. That young girl is called Lucy, communication. And Kevin, CPC. Now, these guys are here to serve us. And it is our responsibility as KCC to serve you to your satisfaction. However, we would also wish, underline that, we would also wish that our clients also see the need to respect us. Are we there? More often than not, some of you have seen us so young, it's true, and so some of you have dismissed us on the onset. And so that whatever we tell you, you don't listen to. But remember, these are the guys in this space at this time, and their role, function, is to serve you. As the CEO, I would want, if you have any problem with our staff, talk to me. We have ways of resolving those, because I expect my colleagues to serve you better, to your satisfaction. If any of us is falling short, inform us, because you are within your rights to get those services. On the flip side, we expect respect from you guys. When there are mistakes, let's find a way of resolving those mistakes, but not abuse, beating, or casting aspersions. Some of you have, you can sit down. Some of you have forgotten. I don't know whether because you are still in the character, you are not out of character. So because you are this aggressor on stage, you proceed to be aggressive to those people who are serving you. I've gotten a few reports on that, and I just felt it is important that you you get to know that we really expect to serve you well, but we also expect you to be good to us, because we exist like this. We cannot be without you, and you cannot also be without somebody serving you. Because in future, some of you will be in KCC. Yeah? And so you will expect those other people now to serve you and respect you the way now you're being done to. So that's one thing I wanted to say. Secondly, we may start some renovations in the main theater. Especially if you realize when the theater, especially Almaria when I want, when the hall is full, there is a bit of Joto and there's no fresh air. We want to change that system so that we have that air something, I've forgotten the technical term, and so and then we are, apart from what Alhok said, we are also improving certain lighting elements within the center. For the first time, I think since KCC, we are going to have equipment that will enable you record your productions. But now, that might involve or necessitate some disruption. So that when you had scheduled a rehearsal and we are telling you, wacha we amalize hiyo kelele for some 5 minutes, uendelee, please understand. Because it is for your good. You see, like when traffic jams are there because a road is being made, after the road is made, situna enjoy. That is the same disruption we expect. So please understand that occasionally when you see guys moving in with aprons or whatever to do certain things, no, they are just improving the space for our use. Otherwise, thank you so much. My office is free for all of us. We expect to see you. We expect more productions. So don't go back to Nairobi Cinema where we removed you from. Now that you are here, make use of this space. Thank you so much.
Sorry, just one very special request before the CEO leaves is that we're also looking at how can we contribute or rather give recommendations to all these political parties who are gunning for power, that our issues are also addressed. One of the things that I realized is that sports has been very active in looking at, saying what they want. And those are very well addressed in some of these manifestos. One of the things that I was asked is that when sports facilities are being addressed, like stadiums and all that, how about theaters in this country? Like there was a plan for Kenya International Theater building, center out here. What are the plans? Are these also going to form part of the manifestos, or what have you as an institution probably recommended to these parties?
Thank you. Now, in his program, I saw politics and had come to request him that we deal with KCC so that I leave you deal with politicians, but luckily the politician is not here. I would not want to get into politics. As an institution, I would not want us, KCC, to be drawn into any political endeavor. But we welcome help, suggestion, recommendations from them to improve us going forward. The International Arts and Culture Center is a flagship program in the Vision 2030. We have been trying to make the project progress, but for the past 2 financial years, we have not received funding from the Exchequer. The previous funding we received was supposed to have developed designs, which now are ready, but which we cannot proceed with until we bring them again to you people. That is where we are stuck, because we thought we would bring the designs to you guys, and then we get an appraisal from you, then we go back and incorporate your feedback, and then we can have final designs which then will help us proceed. So yes, the project is there. It is part of our flagship program, and it's only that it has not received any funding in the last financial years, but it is something we are continuing with. If you follow government planning process, we are in MTP3, something like that. No, we are finishing that. So we are starting the fourth cycle. And in that fourth cycle, again, we are going to present these projects we have, which then will be incorporated in the planning process. So it is not that we have to talk to a politician to allow us. Those are what we propose as what we need to do. And we believe they will be taken forward. The problem has been funding, because then Treasury, and as I told you earlier, we need to convince Treasury that we are also a people who need to be recognized so that they can fund certain projects we have. So like that project has not been funded because they will first start with the ones they know, which bring money. Then they say, this is a service industry. So sisi tunachukua, atuleti, and then you are considered last. That is where the problem is. But if we have data and facts, then we can make our case, and so that there is need for government to inject more funding into the sector, which then improve services, facilities for the artists of this nation. Thank you so much. That is a headache we have as KCC. But in our small way, we have started an outreach program. I told you we went to Kilifi some time. That was part of our outreach program. So we are using PAL as an outreach program to make us look national. I've also engaged artists in Kisumu, artists in Eldoret, so that we see on how then KCC would help productions and spaces in those areas. So yes, it is something we have, but more importantly, in the review of the act, let that act speak to your needs. Thank you.
Asante sana. Can we appreciate the director, please? As the director leaves, there's something I want to talk about for 1 minute, because it has come up so many times from his speech, and I want to share this. The biggest challenge with us as an industry is lack of data. The fact that mtu akikuja akuulize, the entertainment industry, the creative industry, how much money does it contribute to the Kenyan GDP? When you ask that question, wengi wetu hatuna answer, si ni kweli? But you forget Friday, Saturday and Sunday in all over the country, people go to clubs. What do they go to do? Enjoy entertainment. Who entertains them? Creatives. Now, when you walk around, ukipanda matatu asubuhi, what do you listen to? Ukiangalia matatu imechora vitu. Who did that? And we never get that data. But currently, as task, and with our member associations, we are working to make sure that that data exists, so that now we can be able to move forward after this election to be able to change the policies and the laws that exist. And one of them is the IP law. The other one that we're going to work on is making sure that artists are actually included in the Kenya National Bureau of, the one that deals with data, so that through that we can be able to get our share of the revenue that we input to the government, and everything that will come down, it will trickle down to every creative sector. Whether you're part of us or not, we will make sure creative industry is protected, and we are no longer going to struggle to feed ourselves, to make sure that our health is protected, and lastly, we are not going to be doing harambes to even bury our loved ones. So there are structures we are putting in place. It's just that because being a political period, it is also becoming very hard to be able to sit down with governments, because they'll make you promises that they won't keep, because in a few months they won't be in the office. So be part of us. You're very much welcome. And I believe that as an industry, we are going to go to very good places. Otherwise, thank you very much. I want to give this session to our chairman, Bwana Abuto, or Dr. Abuto, so that he can be able now to take us from there.
I was just wondering, time has really gone, and the last final bit that we had was what are the recommendations that we'd like these political parties to consider? I don't know if there is enough time. This can be a plenary, or now that it has time has really run, maybe we can do 5 minutes. Yes, we can do 5. Okay, we can create another time for that. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to ask Ken Ambani, the Vice Chair of TASC, maybe to close this session for us.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. My name is Ken Ambani. Just to sum it up, the vision that we had when we started TASC was exactly what everybody was articulating here. And I wonder why we are not in most of these organizations that deal with the arts in this country. We have the Kenya Film Commission, we have the Kenya Film Classification Board. Right now the CEO was here. It was just unfortunate. I was trying to raise my hand, but I think he was a bit busy. Where was the MC? He was a bit busy. I was trying to raise my hand so that I can speak before the CEO leaves. Truth of the matter is, there were questions that came from even other art groups. The vision was that we come in as one voice. Most of these people out there who are actually being supported by the government, they're supported because they speak with one voice. Ken, you can attest to this. Where is Ken? Waudo, he's left already. When we sat, the first meeting, it was basically to bring each and every art body. You call yourself an artist, you call yourself a dancer, you call yourself whoever you are, but you're actually practicing art and bringing culture into perspective. We were to bring everybody on board so that even by the time, as the CEO was saying, they go sit with the government to bargain for something, you will definitely get funding. I've been in government for slightly over 20 years. I left the other day because I want to focus now on the arts. Truth of the matter is, until and unless they see the numbers, what do you represent? We are not respected. Why? Because again, there was one thing the CEO mentioned here, that kuna watu wanakuja hapa wanatukana watu kwa ofisi. You know, artists, we've always been taken to be not very serious people. But trust me, all these brains are very serious. We create. We create. And that's the reality. So there's no brain out there that is bigger than the brains that are in here. But we only need a little bit of discipline, bring ourselves together and be one. So that as we speak, probably through the chair, I've seen the passion that the chair has always had. He's powerful in articulating the issues that are there, because he's been in the industry for all this while. Some of us went into TV and we stuck there because somebody mentioned here that I've not gone back on stage for all this while. Why? Because truth of the matter is, the issues that we're fighting here, we've always struggled to speak about them, but nobody wants to listen. Why? Because people don't want to come and watch our plays. So what's the strategy? How do we twitch this? Come together as one and speak as one. And trust me, the government will listen. And the minute we start going out there, TASC was started a long time ago. We've really tried to bring on board so many other groups. But shida yetu ni nini? Huyo anajitafutia huyo. huyu anajitafutia. People have spoken about my brother here, Buto. People have spoken about us, even when we were trying to come up with this thing. But trust me, if we come together as one and use task as a boat to push now the arts to another level, let the government listen, because we need the political will. Nothing passes without going through parliament. The laws that we are trying to make right now, we have to have a word and say something so that we put it in there, so that kila mtu anaongea kuhusu pesa mfukoni, from the person who spoke first to the last person who actually spoke last. It's all about pesa mfukoni. You don't come here to just smile at people. You want to come here and feed yourself. Again, Ken mentioned, was it Ken or somebody else? The art, the stage plays that we used to do, used to pay us. Used to pay. But what happened? Where did we go wrong? And that is why some of us are stuck on TV, so that, yes, we practice, but at least get something out of it. How can we change the equation? Let's come together, guys, and actually do what we need to do. Well, I was also supposed to pass the vote of thanks. He left before we did that. Thank you to you all who found time to come. When I was looking at the list I think had about 81 members, people who had actually promised that they were going to come in. The politicians have failed us again, but that should not be an issue. We will look for them and we will sit with them and we will talk to them. Because like I said, we need the political will. But we can only be listened to, this is my emphasis, if we come together under the umbrella body that is registered, task. We have so many. Lakini sasa mkienda mmoja, kila mmoja anakwenda anajitetea, unafinywa shilingi 5, alafu unarudi nyuma, and that other artist is just sitting there. Trust me, COVID taught people a lot. You as an artist, you can attest to this. I received so many text messages. Mtu anakuomba shilingi 500 ili kwamba ajikimu kimaisha na ana watoto karibu 4 kule ndani, lakini alikuwa analipwa hapa, ama alikuwa na perform mahali fulani. So guys, we can change the equation. But how do we change this? If we speak with one voice. That's my emphasis. Let's come together. Wherever you are, wherever you're practicing the arts, your leadership can actually come, speak to Abuto. We've already communicated to everyone out there. Let's come together and speak as one. And everybody will be represented within the task. Thank you so very much for coming. And God bless us all so that we can actually move this gurudumu together. Tubarikiwe sote.